Most of the detailing was done, but while assembling I stumbled upon a small couple of things, nothing major, so while assembling I just added those just to finish it off a bit more. So aside from adding the additional detail here and there, I also added some Tamiya smoke to make it a bit more dirty and highlight some higher areas and give the lower areas a bit more shading than just one block of aluminum or silver paint in this case. The engine also got some of this smoke alongside various other components I will show later on. With those components now installed, I took out my Tamiya weathering kit and added some more dirtiness to the engine bay as it still looked a bit too clean, and I thought with this powder or just modeling makeup, if I can put it this simple, it will make it look a bit better in my opinion than just one block of silver in the engine bay with some Tamiya smoke sprinkled upon some other pieces which aren't really visible anymore. So with the big piece, it also needed to be a bit dirtier. Just like the engine, this sub-assembly also got some Tamiya smoke after I finished the assembly and before I added it to the rest of the components. So with the exhaust installed, it also needed to be a bit dirtier as it looked way too clean and way too much of the same color. So I took out the Tamiya weathering set again to change that up a bit. With all the chassis pieces now finished, I moved back to the interior, adding some final decals and doing the final assembly on that to make it ready for the body to be put on. On the back of the chassis it had something to hook onto inside of the body. On the front this was not the case, so a small amount of glue fixed that permanently to the body and left it at that. With that done, I could do a test fit of the wheels. The front was offset pretty well, needed to sand off a small amount but nothing major. And if you have been following this build from the beginning, in the first video I had shown that I will be using some Brembo brakes from a Fujimi wheel set. These needed to be filed out in the middle a small amount to fit around the wheel snugly to make them look right and correct. And with that done, I could take them off after the test fit, add some Panelline accent color to the discs to make them look a bit more dirtier and not the exact same color as the brake caliper is. So after the Panelline accent color had some time to dry, I put the disc inside of the wheel, then glued the wheel to the body and moved on to the other wheels. So for the left front it was a bit different. This needed to be sanded down a bit more than the one on the right hand side. No big problem, just a couple of millimeters taken off. Added the disc to that as well and then glued it in place, and repeated the same steps for the rear left and rear right wheel, which needed a bit more taken off as they stuck out a bit more than the fronts, but nothing major again, just a simple step of taking it off, applying the wheel to the body for a test fit, taking off a bit more, adding the disc, and then gluing it into its final position. With the wheels fitted to the body, I could move on to doing the final details. Starting it off with the windshield wipers on the front, glued those in place and then moved to the rear one, which I thought looked weird, so I won't be using that. And then moving on to gluing in some mirrors to the side mirrors and adding some of the clear parts to the body. After letting those mirror lenses dry off for a bit, I moved on to gluing the mirrors onto the body permanently, finish off the final details, added the rear spoiler and the hood, and that's pretty much it for this one.